ready for another lesson?
What's up, everybody, and welcome back to Back Row Banter, your favorite casual movie talk podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Adam Schwartz, and on this week's episode, we'll be talking about Barbarian. But before we get to any of that, I'm joined today, of course, by not home Nathaniel Gingrich.
What up, folks? I'm not home.
Stop trick-or-treating. Stop ringing that doorbell. He's not home.
I'm not home.
He left the candy on the doorstep, and Blake took it all.
Yep. But I left you.
Actually, Tyler's more likely to be the person to like take the whole bowl of candy.
That's up to Tyler because one of those pieces is pure glycerin.
Oh, wow.
Pure laxative.
Could have got a lot of different pures there.
That's what it is. What other pures could it have been, Adam?
Fentanyl.
Pure fentanyl? That's the sexy new one, isn't it?
It is. Yeah, that's a very 2023 thing to be scared of getting on your Halloween
That's what
candy.
they're saying as in the candy? Don't tell me they're...
I have no idea. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
My go-to is always heroin.
Oh, yeah?
It's got a nice mouthfeel as a word, you know? Heroin. Yeah, it's a fun one.
It's so disappointing because heroin, the drug, gives heroin, the noun, a bad rep, you know?
It's true.
Heroin with an E at the end.
Maybe they're all just heroes.
Maybe you feel like a hero on heroin. I wouldn't know.
Who knows?
Yeah.
Those guys in Requiem for a Dream, they know.
They know. Was that heroin?
Yeah.
Okay. Can remember for a second.
And the ones in... Did you ever see Trainspotting?
No.
It's another good one.
Okay. Better than a Blind Spotting?
More influential, I'd say.
No, okay. Fair enough. Also joining us today, of course, is Tunnel Ty, Tyler Vidalis.
What's going on?
Not much, man. You digging a lot of tunnels over there?
Yeah, I started back in the day with Pablo.
Who's Pablo?
Escobar?
Oh, okay.
And we built I had a pretty good business over there, man. Just digging tunnels. Yeah.
Is that where El Trabajo came in? You just kept digging, working?
The work, baby.
Street name.
Yeah, that's how they knew him in the cartel.
Mm-hmm.
That's El Trabajo.
That's
pretty cool.
That's like a universal guy thing, right? Just the urge to build a tunnel at some point. Just build a big hole.
I've built so many tunnels. Igloos in the winter as a kid.
I've done that. Yeah. I've done the igloo joint. I don't think I've
igloo
done the
tunnels. Yeah, no. When there was a blizzard, I think in the 4th grade, 2011. For me, 4th grade.
I remember that. Oddly enough.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I was in the 4th grade. What year were you?
That's my sophomore year of high school.
Okay, well there you have it.
Senior year.
Okay.
Snowmageddon.
It was basically that one. But snow was a good 4 feet, maybe 3.5, something like
I've
that.
had a lot of Snowmageddons in my life.
But me and my friends just dug tunnels under the snow. Eventually it collapsed because, not a lot of surface tension
Bracing.
or surface air holding it up. But yeah, we didn't know what that is. Yeah, we were just digging, just hollowing it out with our shovels. Eventually it collapsed, but it was going pretty strong for a little bit.
Did you get to each other's
houses? What you
houses?
can do sometimes is
No, it was it was just in my front yard. We just dug a tunnel halfway through my yard before it collapsed. But we were getting pretty
pretending
close.
you were in trench warfare.
Pretty much, yeah. Yeah. And then
we used to
then came the forts.
Once the tunnel was built, we had a bucket of water, and then we'd go in there with a rag and water and kind of ice everything over.
Okay.
That's a good idea.
So it stays up longer.
Didn't think of that in the 4th grade.
Oh man, it's the
Yeah, that would have been some shit if you thought of that.
Yeah. No, I wish I thought of
Going
that.
places. Yeah.
I think my brothers thought of that when hey dog. Okay.
starring moment from Ellie.
When we would get in snowball fights, I'm pretty sure they iced up their snowballs that they threw at me. I remember them hitting pretty hard.
That's tough.
Yeah. just one of many things that I got, being the third child with two older brothers. And
yeah, we never iced
8-year
anything over
difference.
because we used to throw snowballs at cars kind of driving by.
Oh, that sounds like a very
And-
Tyler Vidalis thing to do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we were like in a park, and they were like, dude,
Okay.
it was
It was in public
was like-
too.
it
Not
was
just
like
that.
20 of us.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, dude, it was like a large group of us. But obviously we were like in the field, so like we didn't have to, like, nobody's got like water we're just icing things down with. But if you do hold it while it's compacted enough and create somewhat of moisture between your hands and the ball, you can kind of ice it over pretty quick.
Yeah.
This has been Snowball Lessons with Ty.
It did snow
Yeah.
today, so it's pretty appropriate.
See, Blake, the older you get, the stupider the conversations you'll have.
Yeah. No, I mean, we did the snowballs at cars. I did a lot of stupid shit when I was a kid, for sure. Peak
Doing-
memories though.
Doing that
That's what they
stupid
say.
stuff as a kid is big. B&B BlakeHolder.
Hey.
You big bed and
What up, what
breakfast bed and breakfast guy.
Not really. I can't. So the way I was raised is like I can't eat in any room I sleep in.
Whoa.
I just can't do it.
Just can't eat, period?
No, I can't eat in any room I sleep in. So like I can't bring food to a bedroom and eat it. Even if I'm just like standing there watching TV.
Wow.
I was gonna say, is it like standing there while you, or you just can't like eat in bed?
I would say like pretty much both.
Yeah.
I think it's just
Wow,
been like
okay.
engraved in me. You know what I mean? Maybe if it's
Interesting.
like a snack, I can like possibly do it
Mm.
and like swing to a room and grab something. But yeah, it's like I'm more so like I need to eat in an actual kitchen.
Okay.
Interesting.
That is
I
interesting.
bring Leah breakfast in bed like every Saturday morning, and we just max out in bed.
So like, what do you do with like the crumbs?
Well, we usually just have like plates, and then we have like
Like one of those like table tray
yeah,
things?
yep.
Okay, yeah, okay. I've seen some people use those. So yeah,
And, like
it's-
we just sit up.
All my
It would be nice if we had like a moving bed, like an adjustable bed that like sat us up. I guess that would be a
yeah,
lot more
yeah.
convenient.
Yep, I hear you.
But the high pillows do fine.
when I do breakfast in bed, I just do it in smoothie form,
Okay.
and just in a
Not bad.
or just an IV bag, maybe.
Interesting. Yeah, I'm familiar with that solution.
Yeah, quite literally a solution.
True.
Ba-doom-ts.
When I can eat in bed, and then I'll either just wipe the crumbs away or wash my sheets pretty soon after, but it doesn't bother me too much.
I will say, when I was like living with Nathaniel or like living with Rob and Ryan, like there for sure I would just max out in bed, and then like the crumbs I would just either sleep in or like brush off. And like like you're fucking like 24,
Right.
23 or something like that, and you just like zero fucks, especially if you're hammed.
Just a monster.
Yeah.
I also say I am pretty good about I like to make my bed. So I'm pretty good about keeping my bed made until I'm ready to go to sleep. So like I stay
Oh,
on
no.
top of my comforter when my bed's made, and so like crumbs don't really get on the sheets that I'm sleeping on. If they get on anything, it's on
Sure.
the outside of the bed.
Just destroying a perfectly good bed by making it.
I would disagree.
Yeah, I would also disagree.
I make my bed on, well, not too much anymore, just because I obviously, Leah and I, we share a bed. So like when you're by yourself, it's really easy because you probably don't move around a lot. So you only have to make like half a bed. Sometimes like when we wake up, it's just like, I don't even know where the fucking sheets are, just because like she'll get hot as fuck or something like that. And they'll just end up like on the ceiling. And it's like, I don't even know where anything is. I don't have time to make my bed. Like I'm out. And so it does get harder if you have another person in there. But yeah, I used to make my bed all the fucking time.
I try to keep
Yeah,
my bed made, yeah.
I'm big on that too, dude. Like I will make my bed anytime I get out of it. Rather it's like get out of it for the day to like shower. Rather if I'm like just laying down in it watching a game, then like I get up to go to the kitchen, I'll make my bed. So yeah, I'm also like very OCD though.
I
so.
think you might be a psychopath.
I might be for sure. I might be. I'll have to like make my bed, like maybe not make the bed, but like when I'm sleeping in the bed, I can't have like the comforters hanging off that. Like not hanging off the edges. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I can't have it I can't have the blanket like bundled up when I'm sleeping in it. Like it needs to be like laid flat and I'm under.
Yeah. I can agree to
Blake,
that.
do you have OCD?
I think I do. like all jokes aside,
Okay.
I'm almost positive.
Okay.
For sure.
Because sometimes when we talk about this stuff, you deal in a lot of absolutes. And so I'm just very curious because, like, you know, I have my preferences on how things go, you know, but you're just like, I can't have the sheets hanging off the bed, can't eat,
dude. Yeah,
you know,
it's bad.
And you know, there's nothing wrong with that, but just made me think
Blake's
for a
like,
second.
I can't have any footprints in my carpet, so I like literally vacuum everywhere I go.
I have a vacuum following me at all times. I just carry the vacuum as I walk.
Just to draw it all back to me here, I just can't believe that I'm the only one that is just pro not making your bed.
No, that's yeah, I can't. I love, like.
Don't you feel like your bed is just always in like formal clothes? You're never letting your bed put on sweatpants.
For me, it was like a
what?
like my. We'll have to come back to that.
Yeah, wait.
But I don't know. It was like a coach thing, and then it was like my mom thing. But like I wasn't really allowed to leave my room unless the bed was made. Like in the morning, like my mom's like,
so
your
was
bed better
I,
be
but then
fucking made.
Then I like outgrew it, and I was like, as a protest, fuck making your bed.
Yeah, see, I think it became such like a routine starter for me, especially when I was going to the gym a lot. Like it was like such like this is how I start my day, and like my day won't feel right if I can't start it this way. So like it always used to be like made.
Yeah, for me it's a big like I just feel more at peace when my bed is made. If the sheets are messy, my mind is messy. You know, like it makes me feel like my room's a little bit cleaner, and if I feel like my room's a little bit cleaner, my headspace is a little bit clearer. You know, it's one of those things.
I'm with you.
Yeah. So I definitely like the bed made. And I like getting into like a made bed at night, you know, and the sheets are all kind of smoothed out a little bit. And I don't have to.
New sheets.
Yeah, and I love washing the sheets. The first night of that is nice too. But like I don't have to like wrestle with the sheets to get them all organized and like make sure they're covering my body proportionately and all that. You know, there's a whole thing getting into a not made bed if you don't maintain it. You just get out of control.
You rotate it twice and you get on it and then you go in a circle twice and then sniff your butt and then you.
Okay.
Like a dog.
So you okay? So you sleep cuddled up like a dog, is what you're saying?
Yes.
All right, cool.
Yes.
Well, I think that explains the discrepancy.
Bed, it's really just a like nest of 4 to 5 blankets that I've adjusted in a circle.
Got it. Makes a lot more sense now. Glad we got that cleared up. All right. Did I introduce everybody? Are we good here?
I don't even know.
All right.
Happy Halloween,
I think
folks.
so. I think we made it over all the way to B&B Blake, right?
Yes, sir.
All right, cool. Well, that means we can go ahead and head on over to, the best part of the podcast besides, our little pillow talk segment. Pause.
Pillow Talk with BRB. A new segment coming to you.
Only on Patreon. We're going to go ahead and head into the main review segment. So, Nathaniel, can you give us a rundown of how the main review segment works?
What up, folks? If you're new, maybe you've just forgotten the way the review segment works here on Back Row Banters. It is split up into 2 sections. There's the non-spoiler section, and then there's the spoiler section. It's pretty self-explanatory. In the non-spoiler section, we'll go around the squadron, say if we recommend this movie. It's got to be a yes or no. We'll go over the movie's IMDb page, see who wrote it, who's in it, who directed it, all that good stuff. We'll go over its summary itself, get as non-spoilery as we can, talk about it a little bit. And, from then on, it'll be spoiler time. If you don't want to have anything spoiled for you, go ahead and check our show notes, which will have everything written down for terms of time code, so you can come back into the episode once we're done out of spoiler time and see where we rank our movie up on our Entropy list, which is our big list of everything we've watched on the podcast ranked. Adam, tell me about Barbarian.
I would love to. This is not a new movie. It was released last year in the year 2022. Rated R with a runtime of 1 hour and 42 minutes and an IMDb rating of 7.0 out of 10. Directed by Zach Kreger, who I'm not familiar with. Nathaniel, do you have more of a background?
The only
on
thing
him?
I feel like I knew him from was he used to be part of the Whitest Kids You Know, which was like a sketch comedy group that was like early YouTube days. Is I believe where he is from.
Okay. Looks like he directed that as well. It doesn't have a ton of other directing credits. Some acting credits more than anything.
Maybe YouTube. Maybe he was maybe Whitest Kids You Know got to Comedy Central. I can't really remember, but it was around that time. Like I remember it being
Got it.
like late middle school, early high school, as well.
Got it. Well, not his directorial debut or anything, but only his 7th directing credit. So
Certainly his biggest movie overall.
Yeah, and the other stuff, it looks like he did mainly TV. He only has 2 other movies, Miss March and The Civil War on Drugs. Are his
why
only
do
other.
I know the name Miss March? Is that the one with like a Playboy?
I don't know. Open link in new tab. Yes, it is. It's on like movie poster.
Yeah.
Eugene believed in no sex before marriage. So did his girlfriend Cindy. His BFF loves sex. At senior prom, just before sex with Cindy, he falls into a coma. Waking up 4 years later, his Cindy is Miss March in Playboy. Can he get her back?
Okay.
Wow. That came out in 2009.
Yeah. It feels like 1989.
Yeah, it might as well be.
That's when I graduated.
There you go.
89?
No.
There's no way that's
09.
correct, Adam, if you were trying to do the math.
Anyways, yes.
2009.
Mostly from comedy, sketches, that kind of thing, and stepping into the horror world here with this.
Following the
first one.
steps of Jordan Peele, seems.
Wow, there you go. If you're gonna have to pattern your career after someone, could do worse.
Yeah, you definitely could. Let's see here. He also wrote this movie, of course. It stars Georgina Campbell, Bill Skarsgård, and Justin Long. I'm gonna leave it there. That's the main cast.
Yep.
Few people here and there, of course, but
Richard Brake.
Richard Brake was probably the 4th biggest role besides, well, I guess Matthew Patrick Davis plays the other one.
I just always know Richard Brake whenever I see him because he's the guy that kills Batman's parents in Batman Begins.
Oh, he did kind of look familiar.
Yeah.
Had no clue. No link, but now that you say it,
He's also the original Night King in Game of Thrones.
oh, yes, in the flashback, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Wow. Okay. Good eye. How did you know that?
He's just got a really distinctive face.
He does.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Good on you, Nathaniel. Good on you.
It's like IMDb has a lot of information.
Well, okay. So maybe you know what? Maybe Nathaniel's just like fooling all of us, and he looks at the IMDb before every episode.
Every episode, 2 to
and
3
he's just
hours.
got like flashcards that I can't
He
see.
preps.
He's got-
Prep ahead of time. Yep.
Yeah. Makes
You fucking
Quizlets. The IMDb summary of the movie reads as follows. A woman staying at an Airbnb discovers that the house she has rented is not what it seems. Cool. Yeah. Decent-ish summary. To fill in the blank. I mean, I don't know. There's not much to fill in the blanks there. It's a horror movie. Obviously, that's not all there is to it. We have our main character, Tess, Georgina Campbell, who's great. Comes to her Airbnb. Turns out someone's already there. Someone's already renting it. That's interesting. How did that happen? And then that's the start of the movie, and then it kind of just takes off from there with some twists, of course. But this was my first time. Anyone else's?
Mine as well.
Oh, really? No, I didn't know that.
Yep.
I've seen this. This is probably like my 3rd or 4th time
Wow.
I've seen this since it came out.
I was gonna say,
Yeah,
I
that
think
movie's awesome.
Blake might have talked about it on the podcast
did.
at one point, and he
Yeah.
was definitely the first to watch it. And then I want to say I saw it with maybe a month or 2 after that he brought it up.
I remember seeing the trailer for this and just kind of thinking like, it could be decent, and then never really hearing too much about it, and then Blake coming on the podcast and saying, "Oh, this is actually really, really good," and then you coming back and saying the same thing. And and then kind of just keeping that in the back of my head and knowing it was a good movie. And if I ever was in the mood to watch it, I would. But here we are, and I was kind of in the mood to watch it, and we put it on the podcast. So, but I'll hand it over to Ty for his initial reactions as another first-time viewer. What are you thinking here, Ty?
It was pretty good. I liked it. It wasn't like it, there's no, for me again, I think I say this every single week, but like it takes a certain amount to get us scared, and there's just not a point here where I'm like, ooh. I'd rather watch kind of like The Descent, and we can obviously go into that, but like it's still good. I like the kind of direction that they took. I like the design of it. I love small sets, small casts, small movies. Yeah, I had a lot of fun with it from a first watch standpoint for sure.
Yeah, I would agree with that, but I'm probably a little bit higher than you are on this one. I really, really enjoyed it. Had some good scares for me. Wasn't like the most terrifying thing I've ever seen. And I think the scariness isn't fully maintained throughout the whole movie, but there are definitely some good scares in here that definitely got me. And a lot of good tension and a lot of good scenes where I was a little bit on edge. So it got me in that aspect. I think the story is really good. They kind of lead you in certain ways, and I love how this film's shot. Looks great, and it's got some really cool effects that they're doing to give it a really interesting kind of style. I want to know what lens this is shot on, but
Camera.
Well, I would assume it was a camera lens.
Interesting.
Good observation. Nathaniel, you're on it today, man. You're really on top of it.
Listen, it's Halloween. I'm on top of my game.
Yeah, are you like Michael Myers? Are your powers accumulating because it's Halloween?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm undefeated in the fall.
Got it. But yeah, really well shot, like how it's filmed and directed. Cool story, cool concept, and like Tyler said, I really enjoy the kind of small cast and small setting, and keeping it just in a tight knit little compact story. Doesn't get too crazy in any way. Yeah, I'm really, really enjoyed it. Definitely recommend. I know today is Halloween, so we're kind of like exiting spooky season, but this movie isn't like a Halloween themed movie necessarily, so you don't need it to be around Halloween time. If you just want to watch a scary movie, it's a very good one to watch. Nathaniel?
Yeah, I really like this movie as well too. I feel like it's like we in the horror community, like this movie came out, I feel like had a relatively pretty big kind of popularity around its opening, and then then obviously dropped off a little bit. Then like had kind of second big upswing on when it kind of went out on streaming again and everything, and now we're almost like waiting for it to come back around again. Almost a year since it came out. But if you haven't come across this yet, it's super fun. It's super twisty, I think, in that it goes in a lot of ways you're probably not expecting. I think the pacing is super interesting in this one. Overall, I think is it Kreger or Klegger for the director?
Kreger.
I think Mr. Kreger, he's got a really interesting kind of visual eye and a really good grasp on structure itself and kind of just audience expectations and what to play with in those, whether that is for horror, for the effect of horror, or for the effect of comedy. I think he kind of seems to understand that both of those come from a place of tension and cause and effect and waiting for the punchline overall. And I think this movie does a pretty good job and a pretty fun job of balancing both those points evenly across both. And overall, I'm really excited to kind of see what he does next. I think there's a little bit of kind of uneven spots in this movie overall, but as far as kind of a contemporary, updated play on the classic people go to house of like distant family or something like that, and not everything is as it seems, this is a pretty good kind of update on that update on that formula and kind of bring it into modern times as well too. And again, really goes into showing to like, yeah, Airbnb and everything like that is super convenient when you do it on your phone, but you are purposefully placing barriers in between yourself and other humans. And when you do that, there is a lot of other things that can kind of slip in between there, and you might find yourself in an unpleasant situation as well too. So yeah, big recommend. I would say it's a fun time overall. Blake?
Fun. You think this movie's fun?
I think the movie's pretty fun, yeah.
No, it's good. I'm just kidding. Yeah, but where you at?
Yeah, I think I'd probably agree with Nathaniel on this, right? So this is one I actually caught in theaters. So this is a little before this time last year. I want to say this was a September release, if I want to remember correctly. So I ended up getting to it in theaters because I remember seeing the trailer for it. It was maybe like Men or something like that when the trailer for this kind of came out.
About right.
And, yeah, because Men's probably like a May or June of 2022, and it was just more so all I really knew was like, hey, it's Airbnb, kind of like the quick synopsis you read from IMDb. I was like, oh, it's that Airbnb movie. So I kind of went into it pretty blind, and it was just not the movie I expected. Right? I think this is one of those movies it's more beneficial the less you know about it.
100%.
Right? Like if you I went in with like relatively low expectations, not really knowing what I'm watching. It's Airbnb movie. I knew it had Bill Skarsgård in it. Wasn't really too familiar with the director. Wasn't too familiar with the female lead as well. So yeah, just kind of like just took a leap, and I was just like, this is fun as fuck. So yeah, man, to the point where this watch we just did for the episode this week, that's probably like my third or fourth watch that I've seen in like a year. You know, I would say it's definitely the most watch horror movie I've seen that's new from 2022 by a landslide. I don't think I've rewatched any of the other ones that we've seen. I like Malignant a lot, and that was the previous year of 2021. And I think I've only seen Malignant twice. So I feel like that should probably kind of say something in terms of the fun factor here.
Yeah, I haven't rewatched Malignant, even though I did really enjoy it when I watched it.
Yeah, it's just a little longer. But yeah, this is, I think, very concise. The first act is like excellent, in my opinion, in terms of like tension and world building and character building and things of that nature. And then it kind of just goes, as Nathaniel says, it just goes like batshit crazy, right? Once they cut after the cold open, quote unquote, which is like 37 minutes long.
Yeah, but
before you finally see the title card, and then you're like, oh, okay, yeah. So yeah, man, I like it overall. Like I said, I've seen this movie like 3 or 4 times. It's one that like I've recommended to people. Like, you want to watch a horror movie? Watch Barbarian.
I know you recommended it to Kayla. She watched it not too long ago, right? I remember talking.
For sure, yeah, and I think she said she liked it.
Yeah, she definitely
relatively.
did.
I don't think she's as high on it as like I am.
Mm-hmm.
But I think she came back and was like, yeah, I actually really like it.
Shout out Kayla from 305, honorary Back Row Banter fan/member. I mean, she's also now part of the movie talk crew over there. So
basically, she is
somewhat of an honorary member almost.
Yeah, big shout out.
Kayla's cool. Kayla's cool as fuck.
Yeah, so that's kind of my quick spiel. Like I said, highly recommend for those who are in the horror community or anybody who's just kind of the casual viewer. But I'd recommend going in as blind as possible. I guess I didn't mention that I also knew it had Justin Long in it, I believe, which was like, when I seen that, I was like, I'm fucking in on anything Justin Long does.
Scream Queen, that's Justin Long.
Yeah, absolutely. The title does go to him. And that just goes back from like the Jeepers Creepers days. So,
yeah. Speaking of which, did I not see?
Yeah, man, and Tusk, which he's in Tusk too. If anyone's seen that.
I saw someone, it was either like an NBA player or an NFL player maybe, that was like doing their entrance this weekend. You know how they always like do clips that seem to go on Twitter nowadays of them like walking in their fancy outfits. And one guy was definitely in like a movie quality Jeepers Creepers costume.
Oh,
really?
Yeah.
Funny enough, at the place this is Friday night, we were in Phoenix. So we were actually watching the Diamondbacks game.
Sure.
right? So we're at like a bar watching the Diamondback game. The guy next to me was like fucking sweating his ass off, bro. Great guy though. Talked to him a lot, learned a lot about baseball to him, but you can see he was like fucking invested.
Sure.
And nonetheless, long story short, that game ends. So they just ended up putting they just ended up putting like a movie on, right? Sitting at the bar. There's stuff going on. Obviously, it's Halloween weekend. And they put on Jeepers Creepers. And
Awesome.
yeah. So yeah, full circle. But yeah, that's kind of my spiel. Was I the last person to go?
I think so.
I think so. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Cool. That's a recommend all around then. Yeah.
Think so, yeah. Easily able to be caught on Hulu right now if you're
And
wanting to
Max.
check
I
this
watched it
one
on
out.
Max.
Is it on
Yeah.
Which I was gonna
Max?
say to you, we're on watching on Hulu. If you want to watch it without ads, we can switch
Oh
to Max.
yeah,
But it's up to you.
You
It doesn't
said-
bother me.
you said that in the group chat this week that it's on Hulu now, and I was like, oh,
Oh no,
like-
Tyler said that.
Oh, damn.
I did.
I watched it on Max.
That's where
like a
where it
human.
originally was.
If you say so, I remember it being on Max
It was
for
on Hulu.
forever.
It's been on Hulu for like 6 months.
Well, there we go then. Maybe
It's
it
been
had-
on Max for 6.5.
Yeah, well,
Shut the.
just see it in theaters and enjoy.
Well, with all that being said, really quick, if you're curious, like I was, shot on a Sony Venice Mark I or Mark II, Mark I, and 15 millimeter lens.
Which I think you'll find is a camera lens.
It is a camera lens. Good observation.
Thank you.
Not wrong.
Yeah, it's a 15 millimeter CP.3 Zeiss
Were you
lens.
ever,
I'm not
where
really
were you-
familiar.
Were you ever in DI?
I learned a thing or two about the cameras.
Yeah,
Yeah, zoom,
all of that film talk, and you never really learned about cameras.
f-stop,
Yeah, but that's another term, right?
depth of
Aperture.
field,
I would love to quiz you on camera stuff once some time.
aperture.
We'll test your production knowledge.
Shutter speed,
There's another
Yeah,
good
there you
one.
go.
exposure,
Uh-huh.
Yep.
white balance.
These are a lot of buzzwords. Yeah.
Focal length. ISO.
Oh boy, this is a real casual episode. All right. Okay. Well, with all that being said, we're gonna go ahead and head on into spoilers. So if you have not seen Barbarian and do not want to spoil it for you, go ahead, check that episode description where I've left a timestamp you can jump to, where you'll be taken to our ranking of the movie Hup Upon our Entropy list. Nathaniel, what we got for spoilers this week?
That
All
rim
right,
shot I was talking about
well-
earlier.
Jesus. Okay.
Spoilers.
Cue the crickets.
Shit goes down.
Nathaniel would press the crickets, but he forgot which button it is again. Wow.
red?
That was good. That was a good one. Happy for you.
That's what I think about you and your jokes, bro.
Shit on.
I'll never recover. Well, where to begin?
Some shit goes down.
Yeah, yeah.
Some would say you'd begin at the start.
Sure, we can. That the first act, the cold open, if you will, gets me good. Gets me good. Gets me wrapped in, and that's one of the things we were kind of saying. You know, where the less you know, the better on this kind of thing. Where
It's a natural setting. It's uncomfortable, but it's believable. It's grounded. You totally understand why everyone is acting the way they would, but
Right.
you're still confused and you're still like, oh no, what's gonna happen? And then immediate left turn.
right. Yeah. I don't often audibly react to things. But the OF that came out of my mouth when the mommy comes charging down the tunnel at Bill Skarsgård,
Sure.
just instinctual. Like I didn't even realize I said it before it came out. I was just like, holy shit. And that, doesn't happen often. So props to this movie for just freaking the hell out of me. And it also kind of felt like a video game moment. Like the way she just charges looked like an NPC.
It looks like a clip that would be like in a Resident Evil film.
100%.
Resident Evil video game.
100%.
They even have that quick first person view
Yeah.
of actually no, that's actually post cold take. or cold open, where they have the first person view of Justin Long. He's holding like the flashlight in the night.
We actually
Yeah.
just
That was pretty cool,
watched that
too.
on the
Okay,
movie that we
yeah,
got up in
yeah.
the back. But yeah, they have that. So yeah, there definitely are some shots that are very reminiscent of some video game stuff. But yeah, that was very effective, and obviously then just the visceral banging of Bill Skarsgård against the wall is, like I said, visceral.
It is. It's sudden.
Um,
It's impactful.
Yeah.
Jarring.
So like just the 0 to 100 that you go from in that first act, where it is just kind of a slow build, and they're definitely kind of leading you to believe, oh, this is going to be some kind of messed up horror movie where Bill Skarsgård's going to turn out to be some kind of serial killer, that kind of thing. Complete left turn and into a wall where Bill Skarsgård gets his head smashed in. 0 to 100 instantly. But the whole cold open, I think, was really well done, and how it's paced and how they kind of lead you to believe, oh, maybe he's not that kind of a bad guy, or, is he? And then, the whole, like, you can't leave, like, let me check it out first before you leave, or whatever it is, and, that kind of thing. It's very effective, very well thought out and everything. And then, of course, like we said, just a complete left turn. And then to just leave us hanging. And then we go to Justin Long's character for what feels like another, 15 to 20 minutes before we're back into the thick of the story is really good. And then as soon as that pops off, we take another pause, and then we go back to kind of the prequel shot of Frank. What's the actor's name, Nathaniel?
Richard Brake,
the Night King. But yeah, complete pause, and then look back at his story too, and then we go back into the thick of it, where like the movie kind of finally plays out all the way. But just that kind of pacing I thought was really interesting and really well done. Where you're kind of not necessarily stop and go, but it's just like you got some breathing room here, and then you're introduced to new characters, and then you get more information as on the story overall. I love just how like we don't know how Justin Long's character plays into the whole story, because it cuts to him and it goes on for like 10 minutes where you're not even really sure what's going on.
Yeah,
and
it has seemingly no tie to the scene that came before it.
Exactly. Which I love. And then, but like, I don't even remember the scene. Like the conversation he has on the phone, like immediately I'm like, oh, I don't even like, I just want to go back to the house. Like, why are we not back at the house? But then he gets that phone call and I'm like, oh, what's going on here? Like the way they just kind of immediately get me wrapped up in what's going on in his life. Very impressive, very well written in that sense, where it's just like, all I can think about is what I just saw happen to Bill Skarsgård. And then somehow they get me to care about this guy who's only been on screen for 5 minutes.
Yep.
So very well written in that sense too. Each time they do it, and then you go back to Frank and you kind of understand, okay, this is going to be kind of our context for what's going on. And although it doesn't give us like complete explanation right away, at least show us everything, and I don't think it needs to. I like that it leaves some to the imagination, as like showing you the beginning, showing you the end, and just letting you fill in the gaps a little bit. I like that it doesn't, over explain everything or give us like a montage of everything that happened between when we see Frank at the beginning and what we see now. Leaves us some room to imagine what happens in between now and then, which I think is really good. And it's an easy technique to do. And it also helps out the writer a lot, because you don't have to create a reason for all this happening. The viewer will fill it in themselves, I spoke a lot.
No, you're good, man. I agree with basically everything you were talking about there. I think, like you said, the use of timing and structure to create these moments of anticipation and anxiety and tension is a really kind of subtle way to back up the suspense and unease you need for your audience, other than just kind of relentless gore or relentless, effects or anything like that. It's using the structure of the movie itself to your benefit, and I think it's really clever filmmaking. So I'm really excited to see what this guy does next. and I'll be really interested to see what he does going from there. We're in spoilers. Obviously, the reveal that Richard Brake's character is the barbarian from the title and is an awful, awful, awful person.
Yep.
Especially just in comparison to like, obviously there's like different degrees of terrible men in this movie. From Bill Skarsgård, who, while like is a relatively normal dude, definitely kind of like puts his foot in his mouth a couple different times and is kind of like also guilty of just not leaving when the woman's like, let's get the fuck out of here. To Justin Long, who is obviously a horrible person and is making
allegedly nothing was, he was never put on trial.
She slipped.
We never got to that part.
Right. His clearly capable of terrible deeds and justifying them for himself. And then to Richard Brake, who is quite clearly a horrible, 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 horrible person and able to lead this complete double life where no one actually realizes what a piece of garbage he is. I think is really interesting and a kind of even just like treading on the same ground that a movie like Men, does as well too, without having to be as like,
it's not up front. As up front.
Well, yeah, I guess it's a weird way to say it, but like I guess is openly in conversation with it, maybe,
right?
As Men was. So yeah, I on a couple different levels, I think this is a really exciting movie overall. And this being kind of my second time watching it, I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah, and I think even kind of diving into it, how you all are, right? It's the reason the first act works so well is because anyone who has seen Bill Skarsgård in the It universe already applies him to be somebody who is a villain, danger, something of that nature. Right. So he plays that role really well without even doing anything. You can see the guy's more so. It's crazy because as a man, you can only be like wrong in a situation like this, right? Because he's almost being like too openly like, hey, I understand this whole thing is kind of crazy, but like I'm not a weirdo, which is like one of the worst things you could do in a scenario like that for somebody, right? So he kind of does that, and that just opens your eyes as a viewer, where you're like, I don't know, man. This guy's a little fishy, right? He seems too nice. So yeah, he does that. Then also to Nathaniel's point of this movie really just being about how like shitty men are. Nobody's believing a woman, let alone like a woman of color, and things of that nature. Where she comes up and she's like, "We need to get the fuck out of here. There's like a snuff room. There's a ton of weird shit in this house." And he's like, "I don't think so. Let me go check it out." And she's like, "No, like." She's like audibly crying and whatnot, right? Anybody you would think they would take somebody at face value. But then the other side of the coin too is also like, what do you really do in that situation? Like, do you really just like up and leave immediately? Or are you like, all right, well, like, let me take a look. Do you think so? You think most people do that though?
Oh, dude, I'm out. Bro. Like, that was like one of my biggest things. Like, that's always one of those things where it's just like,
I'm not even making the bed. I'm out.
Like I'm glad I didn't like have to go see this in theaters or something like that, because like there were visceral moments where I was like, don't go down there. Like, what are you doing? Like, what the fuck? And so I think like sometimes that's really easy for me to get over, and sometimes it's not, and I just don't know if it's because this is just kind of one of those movies that you have kind of seen before. You kind of have like your kind of Hills Have Eyes kind of vibe to it. You also have, just kind of like your Descent vibes. Kind of like I said, I'd rather watch The Descent, and they do a really, really good job of building suspense. Or he does, and the mother kind of part is a really creepy aspect, but again, that kind of goes back to like the Hills Have Eyes kind of for me. But overall, I had a ton of fun with it. I love the pacing of it. I do love that they shift gears ridiculously quick, kind of like what you're saying. You just see Skarsgård face just get bashed in, and then Justin Long character comes in, and It's just kind of like, well, oh, what's this about? I totally forgot about that guy.
Right.
And you don't see the main character for like another like 20 minutes until kind of it goes down. It is kind of weird how that's the like again, this is like me kind of being in that scenario. I'm not staying in that house once I see the neighborhood.
Sure.
I walk I walk out the first morning and I see that and I'm like, yeah, I'm not coming
facts.
back here
Right.
after, especially after going to the city. Like I would talk to that lady. She clearly seems like she has some hookup somewhere. She'd probably be able to get you a room somewhere. I would just be like, yo, you're right. I don't want to stay there. I got some really creepy vibes. And
Right. So
you could figure that scenario out some other way.
yeah, I agree with you, right? And like the movie does give you like the cheap answer of working around that, saying like there's some type of medical conviction where the city, every hotel is booked, right? So like they kind of give you like the cheap answer for that. But I totally agree with you in that regard. I do kind of want to go back to Adams when he's like his first audible like, oh fuck, was when he sees like the big like 10-foot naked granny lady running down the hallways. Like I'm surprised it took you that long. Like my first audible like when the original like secret door is found, right?
Sure.
And she sees like the snuff room. That wasn't like, oh fuck. I was kind of like, that's like a little. It was weird, right? For sure, but like it wasn't that bad. It was one of those. Like, I'm not going down there.
That's sus as fuck. I would have called the cops there.
But her phone was upstairs at that point.
Yeah, 100%. And she's locked down there. But
yeah. And then my first audible, oh fuck, though, is after Bill Skarsgård's character Keith goes down there, right? And then she goes down and she's calling for him like Keith, and then she goes in there, goes in the snuff room, looks under the bed, doesn't see him, and then she opens that other door, and then there's just like a bunch of stairs. That was my first like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
that's like
I didn't say anything, but that's where I was. Yeah, definitely had that kind of reaction.
For sure. Yeah, so that was one I was like, there's no way I'm going down there. But then you like kind of judge the line with the character. So like, what do you like? If you're her, what do you do? Like, she kind of looks back at the stairs, right? I'm like, this could very well be the last time I see these stairs, you know? But like, do you leave the guy who let you into his Airbnb?
What do you do?
Kind of friendly.
Yeah, I mean, it's not my fault he went down there, idiot.
See, and that's where I feel like I think the easy answer is to say like, yes, I'd leave him, but I feel like there'd be so much remorse.
Oh, 100%.
And like survivor's guilt behind that. I don't think a lot of people would just walk away from
that. I think you'd probably find more people that would walk away. Dude,
I don't know, dude. Like, maybe I'm just like optimistic in people.
Well, I mean, like we're also like old school though too. Like, well, like you know, you got brought up where, you know, it's good to look out for like a stranger that you know you can like maybe trust, or you know, something like that. Whereas like nowadays relationships are so transactional and you know things like that. It's just if somebody met me for, you know, like they probably had a total of like 6 hours of interaction time.
Yeah,
and so I don't know if I think you'd find the majority just be like, dude, that's not my fucking problem. I'm gonna go try and I'm gonna go try and help by like calling someone.
Calling the police. Yeah. Fair enough.
I genuinely don't know what I would do.
Yeah, but that was definitely the one.
I would have left. Like, I would have left before Bill even went downstairs.
Yeah, 100%.
You know, so like I wouldn't even have gotten myself into that.
I would have gotten my car.
How did he ask you? Because he was like, "Can you just wait for me to check?"
No,
you'd be like, "No,
no."
bro,
I know what I've seen. You can go check it out if you want. I know what I saw.
Because at that point too, like I've given a clear warning. You can visually see that I'm upset.
I'm in distress.
You can see how distraught I am, and if I'm genuinely saying no, I'm getting in my car and I'm leaving. You can do what you want to do. Then like that, you should. If somebody told me that, looked me dead in the eyes, I'm trusting you. You're telling me there's danger. I'm
for sure.
Okay, perfect. You're at least looking out for me.
For sure. And to your point, prior to that though, like she's done nothing to make you think that she would lie about something.
100%.
Right.
So you'd almost have to take her at face value, and I think that's more so what the movie's hinting on too, with like men just not taking like women seriously and not having a sense of danger. Where she even mentions like, well, if these roles were flipped, like you wouldn't even have an issue like coming into this Airbnb and sleeping here, you know? So Yeah, it's got some deeper themes with it, but yeah,
Facts.
it's good. It's interesting, man. I didn't expect her to be able to leave the house. So like the first time she leave the house was like, what the fuck? That was pretty cool too.
Yeah,
I thought
you
somehow
don't,
she was constricted to the building or something. I don't know. You don't know. You don't
yeah,
know like what
when
world
the
it
when the
lives in.
homeless guy says like, she comes out at night, I'm like, oh fuck.
Yeah.
She leaves. I'm like, dude, fuck that. I'm out. Creatures that are confined to one space are totally different than ones that have
Yeah, that's where
free roam.
it kind of like broke out of like Descent realm for me, where I'm like, oh, they're safe now. It's like, oh no, she'll just leave.
She's hunting.
She comes out at night, and then it's like, oh, great. And then he has that line, or they have that line for like, are we safe here? He's like, yeah, we're safe here. I've been here 27, and I just knew as soon as he said that, I was like, oh, coming through the wall.
Then you
Oh,
get the
for sure.
fucking the Kool-Aid man. Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Just rips his fucking arm off.
It delves into like one of my very favorite areas of horror where you are generally, along with the characters in the movie, going, oh my god, what the fuck, oh my god, and like you gotta be fucking kidding me at the same time.
For sure.
And like that is just like for me such a great experience whenever I get to have that overall. Yeah, it instantly like hits a certain level in my book. It hits the what the fuck meter, and anytime the what the fuck meter gets activated, I'm intrigued.
I would agree.
Yeah.
The person that plays the mother is a dude.
Yeah,
Yeah, I was like, dude, this person looks like a giant. I'm like, I have to look up to see who it is to see if they actually are a large person or if this is like a camera effect or angles or whatever they're playing with. And I looked it up and it's a guy, and I was like, oh, okay. I was like, he's like, it seems just like a very structurally kind of a male frame, and I was very curious. And yeah, it popped up as a guy, and I was like,
yeah,
oh, okay,
know.
Cool. So that plays off also to the makeup aspect. There's not a lot of, there's like no CGI playing into this, and a lot of the makeup is very, very well done.
And Justin,
How do we
go ahead?
yeah, I was gonna say, how do we feel about Justin Long? I don't know if anyone has like as much
I think he's
sentiment towards him.
He's
as,
really good
like,
in this.
me and perhaps Nathaniel does.
Yeah,
He's fucking awesome.
I don't have a ton of experience with him. I recognize him, but I couldn't really tell you like from where. He was kind of one of those for me when he showed up. I was like, oh, I know you, but I don't know you.
He used to be such a dirtbag in this.
He
I know,
is.
he's so good at it too.
Yeah, it's great.
The way he justifies throwing her off the roof. He's like, I didn't let you go. You slipped. Yeah,
I didn't have time. You get it.
Good. You understand. All right, let's get out of here. I'm helping you. I'm helping you.
Even the whole ordeal where he's just like completely ignoring all the danger and just like measuring the square footage.
Yeah. Oh god, that was
like,
so
can
funny.
I include this in selling the home? And he's just going through measuring.
And
shit.
he sees the stairs and he goes sick or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, what a piece of shit.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. But he was fun. It was definitely a pleasure to see him on screen because that was the first time I've seen him in anything since like Tusk, which is like
Right.
What's Tusk? Probably 16, 2016?
Yeah, I want to say somewhere in there.
15?
Yeah. 15, 16.
He was in New Girl for quite some time, so
is that a show or a movie?
Yeah, it's a show.
Sure he is, yeah.
Yeah.
Is he funny in that as well? He seems like
is.
a naturally funny guy. Yeah.
Yeah, he's like a very awkward guy that's dating one of the characters.
Gotcha. So yeah, I liked him in that, and I mean that's about it. We also got to give a lot of credit to. Go ahead, Adam. I'd say the lead actress.
Yeah. Go ahead
awesome.
with that because we definitely do need to give Georgina Campbell. She's fantastic in this, and I think all three of the main actors are great. Bill Skarsgård, I wish he was just in more of the movie. Unfortunate, ending for his character, but Justin Long and Georgina Campbell are both great. But she's fantastic in this.
Yeah, I'd like to see like more things with her.
What else
This was actually the
she
first time that I've
in?
seen her in. That's what this is kind of
I
my
feel like I've
introduction to
heard
her.
her
I guess
name.
I'd have to go back and look through.
She's in Bird Box Barcelona. They made another
I
one of
didn't watch-
those.
I didn't watch that.
That's
Yeah.
very unfortunate.
You remember when that was a time? What a time when Bird
Yeah,
Box came out.
yeah, man.
What feels like a decade ago, right,
Yeah.
fellas?
Oh,
that COVID?
that's where I recognize her. She's in Black Mirror. She's in the what episode is it? It's the she in the Black Bear episode? Is that her?
Could be.
No, she's Hang the DJ. That's the dating episode, I'm
with
pretty
the-
sure.
with- yeah.
That's
Oh.
yeah, that's where I recognize her from. Also a great episode.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Good point.
Um,
Yeah, she's awesome. I would love to see her do more work for sure. She took on a pretty challenging role of this.
yeah, she's done mainly a lot of TV from what I'm seeing. So this is one of her first, not the first, but one of her first movies. Yeah, I'm definitely down to see more of her. She hasn't done too much since then. I mean, this only came out last year, but this in terms of like what's on her IMDb, not a ton of like big stuff that I recognize besides the Bird Box Barcelona. I didn't even know they made a sequel.
Yeah, she
to
killed
that.
it. She did a great job.
Anyway, the what I was gonna say is I love how they are able to flip your feelings towards the monster a little bit towards the end,
Sure.
where you actually kind of feel a little bit bad, for the monster. And it's just like such a 180 from, oh fuck, when you see her coming down the hallway,
Sure.
and then you actually like feel a little bit sorry for her as she
She's just
gets
a victim
shot,
of like
you know?
of fucked circumstances.
right.
You know what
Yeah.
I mean? It's just like it's unfortunate.
Yeah. And then as we're coming up on it now, I forgot to mention the setup of Justin Long shooting Tess is
Yeah.
also very well done.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then they cut to a shot where like you think she's dead, and then she kind of just wakes up a second. They get you good there. At least they got me good. I don't know. about you guys,
Unkillable.
but Yeah.
Plot armor. So there's a lot of that going on in this. There are, to Tyler's point, a lot of like just stupid cliche horror decisions that are made time and time again. For sure. Like, no, don't go in there. No, don't go. Why would you grab the gun? You're definitely gonna shoot the wrong person. Right? It's
Sure.
like all that shit happens, but like it fits well with the story and keeps things flowing. And it still stays like relatively grounded in my opinion for what it's worth. And I think it works well in my opinion. Like I said, it worked well enough where I've seen this shit multiple times, man.
Yeah, they did a good job.
Sure.
All right. Any
Wanna
other
rank it?
things? Yeah, I was gonna say any other things you want to touch on? Or are we good?
I did want the Barbarian. I'm putting up finger quotes. To be like a little more menacing, instead of just being like sick in bed. But I get the aesthetic of it. The only reason I guess I kind of was leading, or I guess they made me think that it was going to be that way, is when Justin Long got closer to the door, she backed off. And in my mind, typically that's like an alpha kind of like versus a beta, and like clearly
Yeah.
she has reasons to be scared of him. But I figured like with her strength and like we're like they're at that point, like that dude's like dying in bed. If you were like hated him enough, you could just go in there and kill him yourself.
Right.
Yeah,
I agree.
I agree.
Yeah.
That was interesting to see where you definitely you're like, ooh, I wonder what's like behind the door. Then you
Because they
realize
also
it's, like,
tease
her
it before that where
perpetrator, rapist.
the guy who saves Tess is like, oh, there's worse things than her down there. And you're like, oh, well, what does that mean? And then you find that door, you see her back away as Justin Long's going in. And then to find that's just him, like, oh, I understand like the message there. And of course, like, oh, yeah, that, you know, in theory that is scary, but like in terms of horror, not necessarily as scary. But yeah, I get both sides of that, but I agree with you guys for sure. All right.
Yeah. There are some before we get out of that, there are some other people on here. small characters. Obviously, it's kind of a small cast, so people have like very minimal roles through phone calls and things of that nature. But the lady who plays AJ's mom, so AJ is obviously Justin Long, is actually the mom. Is what's his name? Michael Cera's mom in Superbad, where he talks
Okay.
about like sucking her titties. Yeah, so I looked that up on IMDb.
Those warlocks.
Yeah, I saw her on there, as well as the lady who does the narrative of like the baby videos.
Mm-hmm.
That's Sarah Paxton, and that's actually the same lady who's the lead in The Last House on the Left remake,
Oh, okay. Yeah.
which is also a pretty good movie too, if anyone hasn't seen that.
There you go,
Yeah.
folks.
All right, now we're ready.
I'm ready.
All right,
Let's
cool.
do it.
All right. Welcome back, listeners who skipped over the spoiler segment of the podcast. We're gonna go ahead and throw Barbarian up upon our Entropy list. For those of you who do not know, the Entropy list is Back Row Banter's official list of every movie we have reviewed, regardless of genre, regardless of anything else, all on one fantastic list. It's essentially how we rate our movies. If you want to see the Entropy list for yourself, you can do so by checking the episode description, where it is linked to my Letterboxd. All right. Let's see. Excuse me. Anyone got any sorry, after that long pregnant pause for the listeners, anyone got any early idea of where they're putting it? Do we have any good comparisons to throw this up against?
Yeah, it's
Maybe like
it's tough for me, right? Because I'm probably higher than you all are, and like originally, so like when I'm looking, like I'm just going like, where are our top horror movies? Obviously, it's gonna be like The Hereditary, The Halloween, Midsummer.
Sure.
I understand all that. So when you're scrolling down, right? Then like see Scream at 49, personal favorite, never go over that. And then it's like the other batch that we have,
Yep.
that we move the Descent to the front of, but above that is Doctor Sleep, and I like this more than Doctor Sleep. So that's kind of like my first thought, but I'm like, man, I don't know if I can put this above the Descent, right? For what it does to my kind of my horror itch. But then I look at Malignant, kind of similar, and I like it more. So I'm going to go 83.
I
83
actually
below Descent, above Malignant.
had the
I
exact
like it
same
over
spot.
X, for sure.
So 2 83s then. I like 83.
Yeah.
I do like this
The
more
only
than
things
Malignant.
below it that kind of jumps is like maybe like The Strangers at like 92. I'm kind of like, oh, that's close, you know. But I think I like it more than like the rest of like that horror purgatory from like 80 to 105.
I'm gonna stick it a little bit higher. At 73 below Weathering with You and above Paid in Full.
Okay.
Oh wow.
La La
Okay.
Land is my only one around that area where I'm like, that hurts because it just kind of got snubbed, but that's not my fault. That's Nathaniel's fault. So
Yes, it did.
yeah. But yeah, 73 I feel like is a good spot for me. I really did enjoy this a lot. Love it from start to finish. So
Do you see yourself ever rewatching it?
oh, 100%. Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's also the 140 runtime is pretty quick, and it feels even quicker with how the story's kind of paced and everything. So it's really nice in terms of the runtime there. I believe that leaves just you, Mr. Vidalis.
I'm gonna be a bit lower, not because I didn't like the movie, just because
You don't like fun,
there's a lot at stake here,
is there?
ladies and gentlemen.
What's at stake exactly?
And if you want to talk about horror and fun, the only movie you should be talking about is Trick or Treat.
True.
And I'm gonna gatekeep this, and I'm gonna be at 100.
So below Trick or
Sure.
Treat and above Us is what you're saying.
Correct. Yeah, this was a killer movie. I had a lot of fun with it. Even X is very hard for me to put it above. The The Descent, there's no shot it would have made it above that. But I enjoy Insidious. I actually had a lot of fun with the Last Voyage of Demeter. Candyman, there's a lot of things that this is better than, and I just don't think it quite pushes it up past Trick or Treat. So we're gonna be at 100.
Fair enough.
That gives us an average rating of 84.75, meaning we would have to decide if it's going above or below Soul. What an interesting comparison.
Yeah, right.
I'm down for above.
I'm down for above.
I think you guys need to rewatch Soul.
So Soul is good.
Soul
though.
is solid.
I like my man's with the who's like on the sidewalk like spinning the advertisement.
Yeah.
Forgot the guy's name, but he's like one of my favorite characters.
It's like Moonwalker or something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
I am going to be below Soul.
Below Soul. I'm above Soul. Blake, you're above Soul.
Yeah.
Nathaniel.
I guess I will go above Soul.
All right. Sorry, Tyler.
That's fine.
But we have Barbarian ranked at 84, below Malignant and above Soul. Man, Tyler's rating really dragged this average down. I feel like, did I do my math right? This feels so low. 83, 83. What did I put it at?
73.
So, yeah, 73, and you were 100, Tyler?
Yep.
Wow. Yeah, no, I did the math right. That's unfortunate. Oh, well. 84 below Malignant and above Soul. Still not too far off from where.
I was gonna say there's one off from where those two had.
I just wanted it above Malignant, but it's okay.
No, it's not. It's not, and that's not a fair comparison. Malignant just needs to be significantly lower.
I wouldn't say significantly lower.
I wouldn't say significantly either, but
Okay. 84 is where we're gonna leave Barbarian. So that'll be it for the review segment here. Our next review, of course, moving a little bit on out of horror, and we're gonna be watching The Gentleman. I feel like that deserves some applause. Nathaniel, please. Only because fan of the pod, Yasik Jack from 305 has requested The Gentleman. He requested it about a month ago, or really even before that. He's been asking me to watch it. Then he's like, "When are you guys gonna review it?" So I told him we would eventually, and we had the rest of the dockets on the schedule, and I was like, "We got room in November," and so I promised it in November, and here we are.
Here we are.
Here we are.
here we are.
So we'll be watching The Gentleman for next week. And I believe that is just streaming on Apple for like renting. Like you can rent it off Apple. I don't know if it's streaming anywhere easily. Yeah, it doesn't look like it. So you can rent it. It doesn't look like it's on any of the streaming services, but it's a $4 rental, So go check that out if you've not seen it already. I have not seen it. Have you guys seen this?
Yes.
No, I have not.
So no from Nathaniel. Tyler's the only one. All right. Well, we'll check that out and we'll give you our review next week. Cool. So
Really quick, while we're on the Entropy list, did you see we had a comment on the Entropy list? Did anybody see that?
on the Entropy list itself,
Yeah, it
like
was
on
uploaded
Letterboxd?
24 hours ago. Yes.
I didn't even
Unless
know
I'm
you
the only
could
person
leave.
who's updated my Letterboxd app.
I didn't even know you could leave
be
comments
plausible.
on my list, but I'll
Yeah.
go. Where? How do I see this comment?
As soon as I pull up the list, it just says like.
Oh, I
comment
do
at the
see
bottom.
it. Yeah. Wait.
Yeah. So shout out to Marty Funkhauser.
Not gonna lie, bro. Django, Hereditary, Pans, and Prisoners ahead of Jurassic Park is effing wild.
Good call, Marty.
Do we know Marty?
Is it really though? No, it's not.
Does anyone
Right.
know Marty? Is this a... All right.
I don't know.
Well, Marty, I appreciate your input. I don't know how wild it is. I think Jurassic Park is a good movie. Some would say a great movie. And
I
it is
would.
still in our top 10. So I don't know.
It's still.
Don't know. Yeah, it's number 7. I don't know.
What did Marty say?
He said not gonna lie, bro. Django, Hereditary, Pans, and Prisoners ahead of Jurassic Park is effing wild.
Listen here, Mart Dog.
He also leaves out Halloween, so I can see, and The Shining, so I guess he's cool with those two ahead of Jurassic Park. But the rest of them, he wants Jurassic Park 3, I guess. I disagree.
Fellow Jurassic Park enjoyer, I salute this man. He sees more than the rest of you.
I'm gonna flag his comment, block him.
No, we're not going to do that. We appreciate you commenting.
Yeah, no, just kidding. Thank you, Marty, for your for your feedback, and we'll take it into consideration, and we'll probably ignore it because that's how the entry list goes, man. You can't just switch things up.
There is once in a great moon where we get to make a standing vote on whether or not things can and can't move, and if they do move, how far they move. So, maybe
I'm striking it down.
Make us believe it.
I have the votes. I'm striking it down.
Does anyone here actually think, though, that Jurassic Park should be above those films?
No, personally, no.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, wow. I guess that's I could see that from Nathaniel.
As far as like from a pure movie standpoint, very analytical standpoint, probably above Prisoners and probably above Halloween. Hereditary is ridiculously scary, ridiculously well put together. Pans and Django are both also very, very tight movies. So yeah, I would say he's half right, maybe.
Anyway,
okay, fair. Yeah, I'm thinking.
I mean,
I don't know.
Pans is the one for me where I'm like, we have that.
Yeah,
so
you might be able to get me to
dude.
prove that, but that's still like Marty might be a stretch for me, dog. But as far as like above like Hereditary and Django, no, Django's awesome.
Django's awesome. Hereditary's great. Prisoners is incredible.
Yeah. I can't fucking see shit out of this thing.
All right. Cool. We're at a 1:11 runtime on the episode. Are we cool?
yeah, I think so. Let's get on out of here. For the
Yeah.
week.
I know we didn't do what we're watching last week. But we'll get around to it at some point. We'll give you guys a recap. Nathaniel, give you out of 10. What was Five Nights at Freddy's?
3.
Wow. Wow. Okay. The
Yeah.
box office disagrees with you, Nathaniel.
Well,
all those kids are out there seeing it 2, 3, 4 times.
Spending their parents' money.
Yep.
Go see Five Nights at the Freddy's.
Mm-hmm. Did you see it in Dolby? Was it in the Dolby
It
theater?
was in the Dolby.
Wow.
I mean, like, fair on. I mean, they made it like a $20 million movie. I think they already like have
They made that
quadrupled their money on it.
back. Yeah, they made that back, and then
it's not a good movie, but it's a movie.
All right. What a resounding review. Can't wait to go see it.
I'm trying to think of like what I would recommend instead as like a starter horror movie.
This Barbarian.
Not Barbarian. No, probably not that. But I don't know. There's surely there's something out there. Insidious. You could watch Insidious. It's like a 14-year-old and be terrified for the rest of your life.
Yeah, that would get you.
Or Trick or Treat. Trick or Treat would be a great one.
Is Trick or Treat scary?
It's scarier than Five Nights at Freddy's.
It's good.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, fair. I guess
Wow.
I could see that.
All right, fair enough.
That movie's not scary in the slightest.
Okay. Well, there you have it. 3 out of 10 for Five Nights at Freddy's. So if you were curious on whether you should, catch on the hype train because there's so much buzz around that movie, I guess the answer is no.
Not in my opinion.
Not in Nathaniel's opinion. If you value his opinion, you will not go see that movie. Let's see here. What's next? Share the podcast.
True it.
Yeah, do that. Share with a friend, family member, some random dude who's in your Airbnb. Maybe you guys can just, break the
over a
awkward,
podcast.
break the awkward silence. Just, put on an app and kick back, kick open a bottle of wine, and just don't go in the basement.
I'm with you.
I feel like is that too much of spoilers?
Who cares? It's the end of the episode.
True. Follow us on Twitter as well while you're doing that. We're on Twitter at Banter Row, on Instagram at Back Row Banter Pod, and our YouTube is just Back Row Banter. And then our email for any questions, comments, concerns, grievances, or anything of that sort is backrowbanterpod@gmail.com. That is also where you can suggest movie reviews. Yasik, my buddy, did it in person because we work at the same store sometimes. So it's a lot easier for him to do so. But this is only our second of all the episodes we've done. This is, I think, only the second time we've taken a movie review suggestion. Inception being the first one.
There you go.
And The Gentleman being now the second one. We're 2 for 2 on movie recs. So if you have a movie you want us to review and talk about, whatever it is, there might be some limitations here and there, but for the most part, we're probably going to review it. So just send us an email in so we know what that movie is. And as long as we have access to it and we all agree to it, we'll probably put it up on the pod, and you'll see your movie on the Entropy list and see where it stacks up. So send us an email. BlakeHolder, where can the people find you at, my man?
Letterboxd, BlakeHolder. I'll be on there logging some things. Did not have a review first put my thoughts on this, or when I first put a rating on it back in September of 2022. I put a review there. So yeah, take a look. That's about it. We'll go.
You cut out. Who'd you say?
Oh, I'm sorry. We'll go to Nathaniel.
You can find me on Twitter and Letterboxd at @nsgengrick. You can find my other podcast, Sandpiper Tapes, out there too. Instagram, NathanielG92. And yeah, that'll be it. Tyler?
Instagram, Letterboxd, and X. All Tyler Vidalis. Maybe trying to get a stream going at some point here.
There you
but
go.
Who knows? Adam.
You can find me on Twitter at Aish24, on Letterboxd at Aish, and I think that's it. I don't want to plug my Twitch. I don't know when I'll stream again, or if ever. Who knows? Whatever.
Damn.
I'll get back to it at some point. It's just not in the near future. I'm having a lot of fun just not streaming and playing games for fun,
Fair enough.
Felt like a chore for a little bit. Anyway, I think that's going to do it here for episode 168. Thank you all for listening, especially if you made it this far into the episode. You're my favorite type of listener, and we really do appreciate it. Join us for our review next week of The Gentleman, and we'll be RB.
Be excellent to each other, everyone, and we'll be RB.
Thanks for stopping by and hanging out, and we appreciate everything you can and do to help us grow, and just keep spreading love, and we will be RB.
Thanks for listening. Thanks for the support. We wouldn't be able to continue this podcast if we didn't have a platform. So thanks a lot, and we'll be RB.
America. Ready for another lesson.
What's your guys' favorite Halloween candy?
Probably all my other favorite candies, regardless of whether it's Halloween or not, which is mainly going to just be like sour candy.
Hmm. There's not one that like you remember when you were out, like being on the look for?
No.
Fair.
I was just such a fucking sweet tooth. I still am. If you know me well, you you already know that, but
Yeah.
it's like it's just like the like last tiny little bit of like me just being a forever somewhat fit, somewhat fat kid. And yeah, I fucking love artificial sugar so much. Sour things and fucking,
Yeah.
it's just so good. That fucking mac and cheese.
Are we on candy talk?
I asked what your favorite go-to Halloween candy was.
You know,
Ooh, chocolate, or are we going like non-chocolate edition?
I think you can go either or. Yeah,
It's Halloween,
just Halloween candy.
Yeah, like I personally like the little Hershey's bars that you get that are like the little 4-segment ones on Halloween are like some top tier candies.
I've never been a Hershey's guy, man. Big Reese's guy though.
Yeah, see, there you go.
I love
Big
Reese's.
guy.
When I was younger, I hunted my candy bag for the Skittles. Now I've since matured, and my taste has evolved over the past few years, and now I prefer Kit Kats. I think Kit Kats are the top of my Halloween candy. Now, like
Kit Kats are good though.
Throughout the year, right
give
now,
that.
throughout the year, my go-to candy is never really Kit Kats, but when I see them around Halloween time, they are the ones I go for.
See, I think as a kid, Kit Kat was my favorite.
Really?
Yeah, it was like a chocolate candy.
I didn't really enjoy them as a kid, and then all of a sudden, I tried them one day, and I was
some
like,
waffle.
yeah, I was like, I'm kind of craving a wafer, and then I split it in half, and I was like, ooh, that was satisfying, and I've been hooked ever since.
Yeah.
See, I've liked all those for quite some time, the Reese's, the Kit Kat, but like now I find myself almost picking the white chocolate edition over both the originals as of lately, and I just don't know if it's like a taste bud thing or what, but like a white
You're
chocolate
old.
Yeah,
Reese's
see,
is fucking insane.
This
dude.
is the other thing
that
too.
might be the most. Go ahead, Nathaniel.
I think just as I'm getting older, I realize that at some point I'm just gonna like kind of rotate through all of the different candy options, like because my taste buds will eventually change. I'll just get bored of everything. Like
Yeah.
I feel like that's already starting to happen in my life, and it's best to just recognize it now and just enjoy it and let it happen.
Yeah, just
Dude, that
just
was-
ride the wave.
It's crazy for it's crazy for me to even say this because I'm not too much younger than the two of you, but that was the most boomer shit you guys have ever said. I'm like, I just prefer the white chocolate or like the dark chocolate edition or the regular ones. Like I grew up with my dad eating dark chocolate edition of candies 24/7.
Dude, I love dark
And like I
chocolate.
can't eat them anymore, bro. Like I died. eating
See, you
stuff
say
in
that, but then like
in
in
6th grade.
8 years, you're gonna be like,
8
that-
years. He's
that
not that much
thing,
younger.
the thing I hated. No, but it's gonna take him that much longer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and
I
you'll
gotcha,
just
yeah.
you'll just be like, man, dark chocolate's the best chocolate.
Yeah.
And then you'll
It's
like
really
get
good
into
for you, apparently,
conversations.
right?
I mean, you
As
know,
far
like
as
all that
chocolate
stuff
goes.
in doses,
Yeah.
yeah. But
No, but
like you'll find yourself like in those conversations, like in your friend group, just because you're all getting older and you start having like just conversations about dumb shit, like who makes
Yeah.
the best scrambled egg and like how you make
Yeah.
a scrambled egg, like dumb shit like that.
Yeah, I had that experience going back for homecoming last weekend, and seeing all my friends who had just graduated the same year as me, and it's just like, oh, all we're talking about is like our new jobs and
Mhm.
what we're doing and what we're up to, and it's just like such. I'm like, oh, I'm
1 year
already
removed from
there,
school,
dude.
how
Not
quickly,
even,
yeah.
man. I graduated
For
less than
sure.
6 months ago, and already there where I'm just like, oh, this is gonna be every time I see these people is like just
For
small
the
life
rest
updates
of your
for the
life.
yeah, like yeah, it's
unless something changes, unless
crude
we
awakening,
burn
man.
down the structures
Yeah.
to the ground, to a box of
Oh,
scraps.
I like the sound of that.
But I'm not Tony Stark, so I can't help you build it afterwards.
I am.
There you go, folks.
Problem solved.
Give it to Tyler.
Tony Stark tie.
I'm handy. I'll figure it out.
Tony Stark built this in a cave with a box of scraps.
Scraps. Love it. Obadiah.
Obadiah Stane. No, have a pizza. Take 2 slices.
All right, you all ready?
For this,
What's important is Tony's back.
All-time great performance. I'm gonna say it right now.
Jeff Bridges in that and Tron Legacy are just fucking. Tron Legacy is like fucking all time, man.
Biodigital jazz, man.
So good. He was so captivating in that. He's like everybody's dad.
I'm gonna
His little
go.
meditation pillow.
What are you gonna do now? I'm gonna go knock on the sky, listen to the sound.
Just a fucking cool ass. It's just like
weird, talking weird ass dad proverbs.
yeah. But I'm in, and I understand.
Chloe. Biodigital jazz, man. And one day, I got in.
I still listen to that soundtrack from time to time. You put me on. You put me on that soundtrack, so now anytime I'm riding, that's what I'll put on.
I imagine the circuit's like freeways.
If I had a motorcycle, that's what I'd be playing.
Yeah,
Like every
for
time
sure.
I'm just driving like into a sunset or some shit. Yeah.